shoe shine boy. I started out as a convict. I started out uneducated. But I learned to sing my song, and I sung it all over the world. I told them it was a man's world. I told them about the big payback. I told them Papa got a brand new bag. And all over the world, they can hear my voice. But Reverend, don't you frown. Don't you bow your head. Tell them what you told me, Brother Brown. Country, talking to the radio announcers, the church people and the street people, telling them that God has smiled on me. God has smiled on you if you got breath in your body, if He woke you up this morning and started you on your way. But I want to tell you some stories of people that God smiled on. We know the story of Dr. Martin Luther King, how it started way back in Montgomery, Alabama in 1955, trying just to get dignity, trying to get respect. And he went all the way to the mountaintop. But he didn't forget about the brothers in the valley. He didn't forget about those trapped in the alley. And I hear Brother Martin King say, God has smiled on me. He's been good to me. Let me tell you, God has smiled on me. It's been so good to me. Then I see as Dr. King went on, another man stepping to the forefront by the name of John F. Kennedy, who rose up and said, let's not stand back. Let's not wait for a handout. Let's wait for a way out. He said, ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. He said, don't us gravel and don't us moan, because God done smile on us. Let me say it. God has smiled on me. He has set me free. Let me say it. One more time. I want to say it real slow. I'll say God has smiled on me. He has set me free. Pick it up. God has smiled on me. He's been good. Then I went on by backstage at the Apollo Theater and I saw a man come out. They call him the King of Soul, James Brown. And James Brown said, Reverend, don't you worry. I started out as a shoe shine boy. I started out as a convict. I started out uneducated. But I learned to sing my song, and I sung it all over the world. I told them it was a man's world. I told them about the big payback. I told them Papa got a brand new bag. And all over the world, they can hear my voice. But Reverend, don't you frown. Don't you bow your head. Tell them what you told me, Brother Brown. God has smiled on me. He has set me free. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I want to scream, y'all. God has smiled on me. the street people, telling them that God has smiled on me. God has smiled on you if you got breath in your body. If he woke you up this morning and started you on your way. But I want to tell you some stories of people that God smiled on. We know the story of Dr. Martin Luther King, how he started way back in Montgomery, Alabama in 1955, trying just to get dignity, trying to get respect. And he went all the way to the mountaintop. But he didn't forget about the brothers in the valley. He didn't forget about those trapped in the alley. And I hear Brother Martin King saying, God has smiled on me. He's been good to me. Let me tell you, God has smiled on me. He's been so good to me. Then I see as Dr. King went on, another man stepped into the forefront by the name of John F. Kennedy, who rose up and said, let's not stand back. Let's not wait for a handout. Let's wait for a way out. He said, ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. He said, don't us gravel and don't us moan, because God done smile on us. Let me say it. God has smiled on me. He has set me free. Let me say it. Yeah. One more time. I want to say it real slow. I'll say God has smiled on me. He has set me free. Pick it up. God has smiled on me. Yeah. I feel it. Then I went on by backstage at the Apollo Theater and I saw a man come out. They call him the King of Soul, James Brown. And James Brown said, Reverend, don't you worry. I started out as a shoe shine boy. I started out as a convict. I started out uneducated. But I learned to sing my song. And I sung it all over the world. I told him it was a man's world. I told him about the big payback. I told him Papa got a brand new bag. And all over the world, they can hear my voice. But Reverend, don't you frown. Don't you bow your head. Tell him what you told me, Brother Brown. When I God has smiled on me, he has set me free. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I want to scream, y'all. I want to scream, y'all. God has smiled on me. He has set me free. God has smiled on me. He has set me free. God has smiled on me. He's been good to me. Let me tell you, God has smiled on me. He has set me free. God has smiled on me. He's so good to me. Let me tell you, God has everybody, sometimes, He has set me free. I feel so good. Oh yeah. One more time. Yeah. Every day of my life, I feel it. He gives me strength and energy. Helps me to sing. He's been good to me. Oh yeah. This is Reverend Al Sharpton of Brooklyn, New York. I've been traveling around the country talking to the radio announcers, the church people and the street people, telling them that God has smiled on me. God has smiled on you if you got breath in your body. If he woke you up this morning and started you on your way. But I want to tell you some stories of people that God smiled on. We know the story of Dr. Martin Luther King, how he started way back in Montgomery, Alabama in 1955, trying just to get dignity, trying to get respect. And he went all the way to the mountaintop. But he didn't forget about the brothers in the valley. He didn't forget about those trapped in the alley. And I hear Brother Martin King saying, God has smiled on me. He's been good to me. Let me tell you, God has smiled stepped into the forefront by the name of John F. Kennedy, who rose up and said, let's not stand back. Let's not wait for a handout. Let's wait for a way out. He said, ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. He said, don't us gravel and don't us moan, because God done smile on us. Let me say it. God has smiled on me. He has set me free. Let me say it. God has smiled on me. One more time. I want to say it real slow. I'll say God has smiled on me. He has set me free. Pick it up. God has smiled on me. Said that he is monitoring and changing, having his administration change. Exhibits in the Smithsonian Institute. Now, these Smithsonian museums are on the mall in Washington, officially telling various parts of the American history story. He says that there's too much focus, I'm quoting him now, I'm not paraphrasing, too much focus on how bad slavery was. I guess he feels there was some parts of slavery that was good. He said that he blasted the Smithsonian for spotlighting slavery and how horrible our country is, while his administration orders museums to change exhibits, quote, change the tone, historical framing, and alignment with American ideas within 120 days, an effort that critics says imposes political control over an institution that traditionally is independent of the White House. The remarks track a broader campaign to purge DEI policies, downplay black history, and scrubbing any references to things like the Tuskegee Airmen and Harriet Tubman, and re-establishing Confederate statues, which they've already begun. And it is an absolute outrage. I was on Morning Joe again this morning, and I recounted how if you really are getting ready to celebrate the 250th anniversary of this country, remember that I believe it's 181 years, we were slaves before you formally found the country. 1776, when you had the Declaration of Independence and then the Constitution later, we had already been slaves since 1619. To go from slavery, where our names were taken, and I talked about how a reporter brought me to where my great-grandfather, named Coleman Sharpton, who was owned by Alexander Sharpton, and I stood there because a plantation collector had the Sharpton plantation in Edgefield, South Carolina. And I stood there realizing that my name wasn't Sharpton, that was the ownership papers, entitlement of the owners of my great-grandfather. To go from that to fighting slavery, getting emancipation, having Reconstruction, then they fight back, backlash on Reconstruction, and you have 100 years of Jim Crow. To fight Jim Crow, fight for the right to vote. August 28, 1963, Martin Luther King talked about a dream. August 28, 2008, 40 years later, Barack Obama wins the nomination for the Democratic Party, President of the United States, and wins.
That is a great journey. But he doesn't want that story told because he doesn't want people to know how decadent, perverted, and sick some people were, or how strong and persistent and insistent others were. And I'm saying he's robbing America of the real story. What kind of decadent thinking does one have to try to rewrite history? You can rewrite the books, but you can't rewrite history. So we're going to talk about that. We're also going to talk about this morning. I left after doing Morning Joe, and Attorney Ben Crump and I announced a lawsuit against a construction company in Harlem that services Harlem Hospital that clearly did not continue to check the rainwater. And it is part of what has caused a breakout of Legionnaire's disease in Harlem. We've had now 5 people die, 120 people impacted. It's time to do something about it. If that was in any other community, it would have been done. Whether the city is negligent or not, I don't know. We're going to keep on this. Whoever is responsible, we're going to hold accountable. And we are definitely going to deal with that. We also see that Donald Trump has urged that Governor Lisa Cook, the black governor in the Federal Reserve, said that she must resign because there's some accusation of whether or not she falsified bank documents and property records to secure bank loans. The reason this story caught my eye is that same thing they're now trying to say about New York State Attorney General Tish James. So either all black women is falsifying bank records and mortgages, or this is their way of how they come after black folks. And I suppose it catches my attention because they tried it with me. After I stood up on several cases, from Bernard Goetz case in New York and Howard Beach, Tawana Brawley, they accused me of stealing from my own youth group. Charged me, brought me to court, and had 70 counts. And the jury came back and said I was not guilty of any. 1990. So if I'm sensitive to people being set up, it's because I've been there, done that. And we need to understand, they indicted Martin Luther King in 1957 for income tax evasion. He was acquitted. They don't talk about that. You read a lot of bios on Dr. King. They don't talk about how the state of Alabama came after him, try to make him a crook. The first way they deal with you is to try to discredit you with your own people and others, or he's just a crook. Tax cheat, thief, taking the money. And I want you to know that if you're not ready for the fire, then don't get out here, because they're coming after you. But some of us gonna stand up for what's right, and some of us believe in a higher power, and I'm still here. And we're gonna talk about all this. Also, Israel has approved a plan for Gaza City to take over and calling up to 60,000 reservists. So it seems that Netanyahu and Israel Defense Minister Israel Katz have authorized a major military takeover of Gaza City. So it doesn't look like there's going to be any back down there. They're trying to just totally take over Gaza. Israel is, Netanyahu is. And all of this talk about ending the war with Ukraine, and Trump saying the next meeting will be with Putin and Zelensky. The Kremlin is saying, no, we don't know, not so fast. Maybe some conversation with some people that could eventually lead to something, but we're not doing that so fast. In fact, they bombed some places. Russia bombed some places in Ukraine last night. So that's the picture. Let's talk about all of it. I'm going to take all 3 hours and let's talk about it. Keeping it real. Sharpton. 1-877-532-5797. 1-877-532-5797. Or you can go to our live stream at nationalactionnetwork.net and write me a message on the message board. O.G. Kelly's on already. There were black people in the Americas before transatlantic slave trade brought large numbers of enslaved Africans. That's a fact. Trisha's on. Good afternoon, Reverend Al, and everyone on the message board. Happy Wednesday. Happy Wednesday to you. Let's take our break. We'll be right back. Keeping it real right after this.
Of reference. 400 years later, it's time to do some assessing where we came from. While Alabama, Georgia, and South Carolina, Mississippi take the hits, the real trade market for commerce and cotton was New York, the port of New York. As a matter of fact, Joe, the first state to end slavery was Vermont. It was all the way up the coast. The big shipbuilders became rich off of our enslavement. Say our people are not slaves, they are our ancestors. They may be slaves to the present, but they're our ancestors, they're our foreparents. The money is made off of the commodity. We were the commodity in the commodity exchange. And they would import Africans, they export cotton and tobacco. And they built the whole economic system around Wall Street. Africans, because they feared the Indians would attack the Dutch, built a wall on Wall Street. That's what they named it, Wall Street. It's the Africans, with logs and trees, they built a wall around Wall Street, keep the Indians from attacking the Dutch. So Wall Street was named after us. There's a burial ground on Wall Street, which we should all visit. Those are our foreparents. At some point, they moved us to the other end of Manhattan, which is Harlem. So we are on the same island as Manhattan. Manhattan, Harlem, Wall Street, on the same island. Harlem is right down the road from Wall Street. That's interesting that most of our leaders who argued different cases never quite got to march on Wall Street.
That was Reverend Jesse Jackson speaking at National Action Network's House of Justice in 2020, saying that we'd ignored dramatizing, putting the spotlight on the economic inequalities, the economic issues of this country by never having marched on Wall Street en masse. Well, on August 28th, 5 years later, we're going to do just that. Because with this big, beautiful bill, which is a big, ugly bill that cuts Medicaid and SNAP, with the ending of diversity, equity, and inclusion programs and initiatives in the private sector, which gives blacks and others jobs, contracts for businesses, making sure we make the C-suite based on our merit and not excluded because we didn't have the family background in a given place, whether it be academic or business. The people that benefited from that are the ones on Wall Street that deal with the stock markets, that deal with the Dow Jones, that deal with making trade off of the decisions of those that supported the Trump initiatives in this area. So we are not this year going to Washington on the anniversary of the March on Washington. On the anniversary of the March on Washington, we're going to Wall Street. And Reverend Jackson, we're going to do what you said. Thousands of us are going to nonviolently but firmly come and say that the dream cannot be deferred by tax cuts for the rich and cutting those out that need food assistance, that need support with health care and other economic policies that have choked the middle class and the poor. August 28, 2025, go to www.nationalactionnetwork.net, get the details. Meet us 10 a.m. at the African Burial Ground and be ready to march. Buses are coming from all over the country. Go to that website or call 1-877-626-4651. No justice, no peace. Good morning. One of the real goals in life, and I want you to think about this, is to fulfill your mission and continue to work on it until you fulfill it. And at the same time, be able to find real pride and fulfillment in being you. Somewhere along life's path, you must be committed and determined to fulfill your purpose and mission in life. And along that journey, you become completely proud. I mean, inwardly proud of who you are and who you've become. That self-fulfillment and pride can only come when you have the courage to confront the truths about you. It takes courage to really face the truth about what your self-doubts and insecurities and need of validations, where does all that come from? Face your weaknesses, your tendency to mentally and therefore in real life wander away from. And once you confront the truths about you, it'll make you stronger and clearer to fulfill your purpose and mission. And you will have a peace and a self-empowered position that is more valuable than anything in life. Set that as your goal, to be purpose-driven, mission-oriented, and face even the ugly truths about you so you can minister to those weaknesses, failings, and become proud of who you are and what and who you've become. I would argue that DEI is a result of those that by law and later by enforcement would not deal with diversity. would not deal with including people of color, gender, sexual orientation, as well as disabled. And the conscious effort by government and the private sector to begin to equalize the opportunities of this country was something that makes it more humane and fair for all of us. To DEI diversify. It's not based on the lack of merit. We could not show our merit because we were extremely pompous conservatives that talk about we want a society based on merit. Well then, if it's based on merit, then why did you discriminate based on race and gender? Until they cut off much of the population and then
You live, sir.
keeping it real, keeping it real. I'm your host, Reverend Al Sharpton, and we're back. 1-877-532-5797, 1-877-532-5797. Let me say by way of announcements, let me start with we are 8 days away from the March on Wall Street. And this morning, I had a Zoom call with 40 different organization heads, union leaders, religious leaders, nonprofit leaders, that are all organizing to bring people into New York for this march. Because people understand that we have not taken a visible stand based from our community on what is going on. I don't know if Trump has to insult you every day. I mean, from stopping DEI and in many ways disproportionately impacting our health care with cuts in Medicaid and SNAP programs, to saying the good side of slavery should be talked about. I don't know what he has to do to get some people going. But you know what? You that are sitting on your buttocks waiting on somebody to come do it for you, sit right there. And believe me, you'll call us before we call you. But those of us that are serious, it's time to get on the battlefield. You cannot fight a battle and not be on the battlefield. Sitting up on your social media page is not fighting a battle. So we need people. We have buses leaving from all over the country. You have no excuse. It's the Thursday before Labor Day, August 28th, next Thursday, a week from tomorrow. Starts the holiday weekend anyway, Labor Day weekend. Most of y'all are taking off work anyway. Some people are coming as far as Texas, Tennessee, or by bus to be with us on this march on Wall Street. Why are you going to Wall Street, Reverend Al? Because that's who's financing Donald Trump's fight against DEI. Those are the ones that are getting the tax breaks. Those are the ones that are the recipient of these unbalanced, unfair policies. So every 5 years, Martin Luther King III and I have commemorated the March on Washington of 1963, August 28th, 63, where his father did the I Have a Dream speech. And we do it not for a commemoration, to say a continuation. What is the state of the dream? And started in 2000. We started in 2000, then 2005, then 2010, then 2015, then 2020, and now we're at 25. We've done it since 2000, the last 25 years. But it's the first year we said, let's take it to Wall Street, not Washington, not the Lincoln Memorial where the original march was. And why? Because we wanted to put the focus on the impact economically and the robber barons that's making money. Little did we know they were going to have National Guard and others in Washington, which would have made a lot of people apprehensive and scared to come to Washington because it's being inundated with guards, National Guard. So God works everything out. We already had moved the march up to New York and already had gotten the permits and understanding with the New York Police Department to do. We are not doing no violence, and we're meeting at African burial ground and march thousands down to Wall Street. So make sure if you have not signed up, don't tell me I intended to, do it. Do it right now at nationalactionnetwork.net or call the toll-free number 1-877 626 4651 1-877 626 4651. Let me also say for you in the Washington, Maryland area, I will be the morning preacher at Howard University this coming Sunday. I'll be there Sunday morning preaching the services at Rankin Chapel at 11 a.m. Some saying, oh, Sharpton going to Howard University to preach because of what they're doing with the National Guard. No, this is an annual date. It just happens to fall in time for me to deal with the National Guard. And I am going to preach and I'm going to deal with all of those issues. Let me also remind you, Politics Nation with Al Sharpton, live at 5 p.m. Eastern Time on MSNBC every Saturday and Sunday. I'm working already now to deal with the whole redistricting. I'm going to have the people on that's in the middle of that fight like I had last Saturday. I'm going to have people on. Certainly historians deal with this insult about they only do the bad side of slavery. I'm going to have people on in the thick of what's going on, and I want you to watch it. I want you to support it. 5 p.m. Eastern Time on MSNBC every Saturday and Sunday. In fact, I'll be doing Sunday show from Washington and Saturday show from New York. And I'll be at the Saturday Action Rally in Harlem before I go to Washington, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. at the House of Justice, 145th Street and Lenox Avenue, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. And you that are not in New York can watch it live on Impact Television on www.National Action Network live stream. On our message pad, Doll says, I know that I'm Black American. I used to think I was African American. I now see a new information. Thank you, Mr. Darrell. Okay, I don't know what Darrell had put. Tricia says, Target CEO stepping down due to slow sales and new CEO was the COO and has been with Target for 20 years, so it may be much of the same. Stay tuned and stay woke. Yeah, we have to see what that means. We'll see. All right, let's go to the phone. Let me start the phone calls. We start in Detroit with Sly. Sly, you're keeping it real with Al Sharpton.
Grand afternoon, Brother Sharpton. It's been a minute, but just because I don't call in don't mean I'm not listening. I catch you every day, including Politics Nation.
Well, thank you.
Okay. And I brought you another new listener. Just give a shout out to my friend, Miss Bonnie.
Hello there, Miss Bonnie. How you do, Miss Bonnie? Glad to have you with us.
Yes, sir. Now, I didn't catch all of your opening remarks, but I heard you talking about slavery, and you are aware of this day in history, correct?
Yeah, go ahead.
On this day, 406 years ago, this was the day the White Lion touched down in what is known as Fort Comfort, Virginia, bringing the first of ancestors over here as chattel. And yes, the person that wrote the post, we were here first. But yes, today is the day that some of our ancestors were over here as shadow, and I just thought I'd bring that up for my brothers and sisters to just take a couple of minutes, and meditate and reflect on that. Other than that, Reverend, always a great show. Thank you.
All right, well,
Have a
thank you
good one.
for with us, and thank you for bringing people with you. And I think that as shameful as it is what Trump said about they only showing the bad side of slavery, as shameful as that is those of us that won't talk about what was done to us and what we did that got us from slavery to where we are now. And by not discussing it, our children and children's children don't have a sense of our history or a sense of our ability to stand up, fight back, and take the worst form of slavery in recorded history. If they knew what we survived, they would not be afraid to fight now. In our blood, our bloodline is a people that broke the most barbaric sense of slavery that was known to man. Now, there have been other slaveries, but they never took their name, broke their mentality, broke up their family, made it against the law for them to read and write. Everything you could possibly do to a human being was done to us. Yet we survived anyhow. And you sit around here now talking about, ain't nothing gonna change, I don't know what gonna do, because you don't know your history. We have already changed everything that they had put on us. We just need to keep it going. Yeah, but every time we make a step forward, they hit us one backward. Then you just step back again. That is what we must do. Let me take my break. We're going to take more calls, and I'm going to read more of you on the message pad. Keeping it real. Sharpton. Be right back. Look at the story. We celebrated Good Friday and Easter just a couple of weeks ago. Well, there's a message in that. I heard a preacher talk about this the other week. The thing that people forget, I want you to keep this in mind, is they crucified Jesus. Those of us that are Christian believe they hung him on a cross, maligned him, mocked him. Wasn't enough to nail him. They mocked him, saying if you be the king of the Jews, step down and deliver yourself. Mocked him. Ridiculed him. He wanted water, they gave him vinegar. Crowned him with a crown of thorns. When they should be giving you your celebratory, they're going to give you some attacks. But the end of the story was they went and laid him in Joseph's tomb. Didn't even have a family tomb. Didn't have insurance like some of us. Laid him in a borrowed tomb. But the third morning, this is the story they tell it. The third morning, when they came to where they laid him, he wasn't there. My message is to you today that don't let them catch you where they laid you. They may kill your name. They may crucify your character. They may tell you you are nothing from nowhere, but when they come to where they laid you, let you be gone on to somewhere else. I've been called everything but a child of God. They said I'd be nothing going nowhere. They castigated us. They called us troublemakers. They called us loudmouth. And when they came to see me go to jail, I wasn't there. They catch me on MSNBC now. They catch me leading marches now. I serve a God that not only will go through the crucifixion, but will bring you through the resurrection. We're going to resurrect in the city. Stand up, black man. Stand up, black woman. This is our time.
So we just wanted to greet you all and thank you for allowing us in.
Yes, sir. We want to move
with gold. Yeah, we was here.
They were on the plantation.
Our family was on the plantation. Wow. And that's, of course, that's the slave house. That's one of the slave houses. Sir, it's been 13 years.
That's right.
Good to
How
see
you been?
Doing fine.
Right, so that's and we
Alexander Sharpton. How many slaves were staying there?
I have no idea.
This is where they would have a slave.
Yeah, that's when exactly. That was exactly.
The two people that most influenced my life were from South Carolina, James and Jesse. Jesse right up the road with me. I went for his mother's funeral. Jesse walked me to my mother's casket.
Wow.
To South Carolina. That's the balance of my life, James.
Yeah.
Civil rights, shoulders.
But also where your people from too.
Literally.
Yeah, right.
And when I knew Jesse was from James, I started president.
Yeah.
And James had died before I knew about him in South Carolina.
Oh, really?
Yeah. James died December 25th. He died Christmas Day, 06. And they came to do the story for February of 07. They came in January. His daughter swear that was his daddy and him pushing the information out.
Wow.
And I called Jesse and told me, you know that my great-grandfather was a slave about 45, because Greenville right up to I-20. He said, I told you we was connected. That's why you gotta listen to me. But nah.
Thank you for joining us for Weekdays Live with Reverend Al Sharpton. Take the time to share this broadcast right now. Tell your friends it's time to keep it real with Reverend Al. Comment your questions now in the chat or call Reverend Al Sharpton directly on air at 877-532-5797. Now stay tuned for Reverend Al.
This is Reverend Al Sharpton. As you watch the broadcast, support National Action Network. Go to www.nationalactionnetwork.net and be involved. You can join, take your membership right online, www.nationalactionnetwork.net. Getting ready to start the program, but we need you to be part of the movement. I would argue that DEI is a result of those that by law and later by enforcement would not deal with diversity, would not deal with including people of color, gender, sexual orientation, as well as disabled. And the conscious effort by government in the private sector to begin to equalize the opportunity.
You live, sir, you live.
Keeping it real. Keeping it real. Keeping it real. Keeping it real. I'm your host, Reverend Al Sharpton. You that are watching the live stream. A man came to me in 2007 and told me that there was a collector of plantations in Edgefield, South Carolina, and that Coleman Sharpton, who was my great-grandfather, was a slave at one of them. I went and met the collector. That's me shaking his hand now. And he walked me around the plantation. He collected plantations. He's one of these guys from the South that wants to keep things, the buildings, and that's me showing my two daughters. I brought them with me when I went back. And he actually walked me to the shack that 40 to 50 slaves had to sleep in. And then they get up in the morning and go pick cotton. This is the shack I'm walking toward. You that on live stream, National Action Network.net live stream. And this white collector walked me and said, this is a shack. I cannot in words express what I felt standing there where my great-grandfather had been a slave for many years, in the actual shack, and looking out at the cotton fields. And if you look at that shack, I don't think 5 people should be sleeping in there. They said about 30 to 40 slaves, that's where they had to sleep at night. I show that because a lot of people don't understand that some of us take this personally when somebody acts like slavery didn't matter. You talk about my great-granddaddy. You talking about where our name was taken from, because we was named after Alexander Sharpton, who owned that plantation, who married Strom Thurmond's niece. And then when we left there, it shows we're driving to the cemetery of the First Baptist Church, the white church of Edgefield. And we get to the street named after the slave master, Sharpton Road. That's how much property he owned and how many of us he owned. So when I'm fighting, I'm not fighting just for cameras. I'm fighting, this is in my blood. This is what you did to my folks, my great-granddaddy. I didn't know him, of course. I knew my granddaddy, his son. And I thought our folks was from Florida. I share that, and that's me standing at the grave of Alexander Sharpton and Adeline Bussey Sharpton. That's who owned my great-grandfather. That's where we got our name from. Blacks were not allowed when they died to have tombstones, and the white First Baptist Church wouldn't allow it. They put pebbles out in the woods to signify where, or to show where we were buried. So somewhere, one of them pebbles is my great-grandfather and great-grandmother. This is real. I take the time to break it down because every one of us that are listening to me that's black or African American, you got the same history. You've got the same blood in your veins. And can you be so ungrateful and insensitive that you can't redeem what was done to your folk? I'm with Martin Luther King, I'm with Malcolm, I'm with whoever. Be with yourself. This is who you are. That's why I took my daughters. Just right there, you're looking at you on live stream. Alexander Sharpton, that was the owner of my great-grandfather. Big tombstone, First Baptist Church, white church, honored them. My great-grandfather somewhere in the woods with a pebble over here, after laboring and never getting paid. Don't know his real name. He was named after his master. So I'm not talking about nothing I read in history. I'm talking about my family. A reporter from the New York Daily News researched it and brought me down there. And the irony of it is, or the providence of it, is that the first time I went down there in 07, when the guy first showed it to me, I didn't take my daughters, I went down. And we got back in the car. I was really shaking. It's just something about connecting with your roots that'll just physically affect you. And we got back in the car, whatever vehicle we was riding. And I said, where is I-20? I knew Interstate 20. He says, about half a mile. I said, go to I-20 and turn south. And he went to I-20, got on and turned south. The very next exit, I said, get off here. He said, here? I said, get off right here. He got off. I said, make a left. He made a left. And in a quarter mile, we were in front of James Brown's estate, where I had spent many nights being with the Godfather, so never knowing it was 3 to 5 miles from. There some kind of connection, but it was right now. State is 5 miles from this plantation. Up the road about 45 miles is Greenville, South Carolina, where Jesse Jackson is from. So this personal to me, and it ought to be personal to you. And if you have any dignity at all, you should have the dignity of respecting and regarding your own roots to the point that you're going to say, I'm not going to allow you to take us back. You should be personally offended that somebody sitting up in the White House talking about why they talking about how bad slavery was. That's beyond it being a civil rights issue. It is a personal insult. Why don't he just call us the N-word? Even better question, why don't you just accept it? Oh, I forgot, some of us do. We now put it in our music. We now degrade ourselves with it. Time to wake up. Time for us to understand what we've been through and why we got through, so we don't allow them to bring us back. They're trying to bring us back. Some of us are not going back, no matter what they do. They ain't got that kind of strength and that kind of power. They used to sing that song, before I be a slave, I'll be buried in my grave. Well, I'm one of them folks that believe that, feel that. I'm not going back. That's why I'm marching on Wall Street. That's why I work night and day. That's why I try to get the message out everywhere I can. Radio, TV, platforms, traveling. We cannot go back. And every one of us must be committed in whatever way we can to fight this. We see what they will do to us. Question is what we gonna do about it. Let me take a break. I'll talk through the whole segment. I'll go to the phones as soon as we come back. 1-877-532-5797. Sharpton. Keeping it real. Be right back. Keeping it real.
Of reference. 400 years later, it's time to do some assessing where we came from. While Alabama, Georgia, and South Carolina, and Mississippi take the hits, the real trade market for commerce and cotton was New York, the port of New York. As a matter of fact, Joe, the first state to end slavery was Vermont. It was all the way up the coast. The big shipbuilders became rich off of our enslavement. Say our people are not slaves. They are ancestors. They may be slaves to the person, but they're our ancestors. They're our foreparents. The money is made off of the commodity. We were the commodity in the commodity exchange. And they would import Africans. They export cotton and tobacco. And they built the whole economic system around Wall Street. Africans, because they feared the Indians would attack the Dutch, built a wall on Wall Street. That's why they named it Wall Street. It's the Africans, with logs and trees, they built a wall around Wall Street to keep the Indians from attacking the Dutch. So Wall Street was named after us. There's a burial ground on Wall Street, which we should all visit. Those are our foreparents. At some point, they moved us to the other end of Manhattan, which is Harlem. So we are on the same island as Manhattan. Manhattan, Harlem, Wall Street, on the same island. Harlem is right down the road from Wall Street. That's interesting that most of our leaders who argued different cases never quite got to march on Wall Street.
That was Reverend Jesse Jackson speaking at National Action Network's House of Justice in 2020, saying that we ignored dramatizing, putting the spotlight on the economic inequalities, the economic issues of this country by never having marched on Wall Street en masse. Well, on August 28th, 5 years later, we're going to do just that. Because with this big, beautiful bill, which is a big, ugly bill that cuts Medicaid and SNAP, with the ending of diversity, equity, and inclusion programs and initiatives in the private sector, which gives blacks and others jobs, contracts for businesses, making sure we make the C-suite based on our merit and not excluded because we didn't have the family background in a given place, whether it be academic or business. The people that benefited from that are the ones on Wall Street that deal with the stock markets, that deal with the Dow Jones, that deal with making trade off of the decisions of those that supported the Trump initiatives in this area. So we are not this year going to Washington on the anniversary of the March on Washington. On the anniversary of the March on Washington, we're going to Wall Street. And Reverend Jackson, we're going to do what you said. Thousands of us are going to nonviolently but firmly come and say that the dream cannot be deferred by tax cuts for the rich and cutting those out that need food assistance, that need support with health care and other economic policies that have choked the middle class and the poor. August 28, 2025, go to www.nationalactionnetwork.net, get the details. Meet us 10 a.m. at the African Burial Ground and be ready to march. Buses are coming from all over the country. Go to that website or call 1-877-626-4651. No justice, no peace. 1 year ago and change, 67 weeks ago, we started marching every Thursday, am I right, on the offices of Bill Ackman. Bill Ackman was the architect of ending DEI, which is diversity, equity, and inclusion. He started it. I want to give a little history because a lot of people get Negroitis and get confusion. I don't even mind your ego, everybody need one, but you don't have to become contrary and duplicitous We got to have integrity even among those with ego. So we started when they first came out against DEI. Now, Ackman and them started it going to Harvard University, forcing out the first black woman and first black president of Harvard. We went to his office and been going 67 weeks. I went first 10, 12 weeks. And this brother, stand up, Reverend Ron McHenry, coordinator House of Justice. This brother has been there every week. Many of you here in the audience have marched every week. So we didn't just get in this, we were in it the day they came at Claudine Guy. Last year's convention, we dealt with DEI. This year we said that we're going at these corporations that had come out against DEI. Many of you, most of y'all I'm looking at was at the convention. And we hit Pepsi. Pepsi called and said, all right, we 8-9 days in, we agree to meet. And we went, purchased New York, chairman of our board, Reverend Dr. W. Franklin Richardson, and Carol Wallace, who's a special advisor to us on finance, and laid out to them that one, we don't care what you call it, DEI, IED. Y'all are gonna keep your commitments in terms of the black community. And that means we don't want special privilege, but we do not want to be specially excluded. This is not about we don't want merit. We feel if our people are at the table, we can beat anybody on merit in many cases. So we want from employment to your board, to how you deal with marketing, to who does your financial investment. We want to go across the board with that. Otherwise, if you don't want to deal with the question of diversity in how you do your business, then don't deal with diversity in your consumer base, because you don't believe in diversity. So we just will try to remove all the dollars we can from buying your stuff. In fact, I told the chairman, remember the chairman of the board, remember the CEO, I said, in fact, I learned that not from growing up civil rights, I learned that from Donald Trump. I said, what do you mean? I said, Donald Trump says he's gonna redo tariffs, that if he doesn't get what he wants for the country, they were gonna raise the tariffs. I'm doing the black tariff reverse. If we don't get what we want, I mean, y'all can't be for Trump and tariff and not be for us in the African American community with a tariff. For 90 days, they're going to do a study of what companies have pulled out of DEI and what companies have a small margin of profit. And we in 90 days are going to announce the 2 companies that we're going after. And we're going to ask everybody in this country, black, white, brown, gay, straight, woman, trans, don't buy where you are not respected. Donald Trump can't make us buy your stuff. The Senate can't make us buy your stuff. In the name of Dr. King, we're gonna do what Dr. King did. Trump tweeted the other week, I'm a con man, don't call me the coin man. I'm gonna stop the coins from dropping in the wrong place. Keeping it real. I'm your host, Reverend Al Sharpton. On our message pad, on our message page, on NationalActionNetwork.net, Jim Alexander said I had to pull over and download National Action Network so I could see the slave quarters on a slave plantation. Yeah, that's real, Jim. That's why I showed it. And let me give you something else to chew on, and I'm going to the phones. New York Times just broke this story. The founders of a new development say you must be white to live there. In Ozark Mountains of Arkansas, nearly an hour from the closest city, a small group of homesteaders is building an exclusive community from scratch. Applicants to the community are screened with an in-person interview, a criminal background check, a questionnaire about their ancestral heritage, and sometimes even photographs of their relatives. The community's two architects, a classically trained French horn player who has live streamed his own videos, and a former jazz pianist arrested and not charged in the attempted murder in Ecuador, say they must personally confirm that applicants are white before they're welcomed in. I ain't talking about in 1863. I'm talking about 2025. They're forming communities for whites only right now. And somebody got to beg you to come to a rally. And now let me get this right. They're forming communities and openly saying only white folks can live here. But Trump is sending the National Guard into black cities. They ain't upset about that. And you think the struggle's over. Why are Sharpton and them marching? The question is, why aren't you marching and rallying and doing whatever else you could do? I'm telling you, it's serious to me. Again, it's time to stand up. Go to www.nationalactionnetwork.net and meet me at the March on Wall Street. Say at least one time in my life I was part of standing up fighting back. Or call 1-877-626-4651. Frederick McLeod said, what was good about being enslaved with no dignity? You touched me again today, Rev. I think about my ancestors suffering on McIntosh and McLeod plantation in South Carolina. I think about it every day. I get up 4 in the morning, I'm in the gym, 5:15, and I'm working out thinking about my great-grandfather. It is something I can't take out of my psyche. I'm glad that young man brought me down there and showed it to me. And I just feel it was providential that this collector, this white guy you saw in the little film, collected one of the plantations he collected and kept, and still does, was the Sharpton plantation, so that I could see it and use my platforms to tell others this was real. This was real. Let's go to the phone. Let's go to Ira in Washington, D.C. Ira, you're keeping it real with Al Sharpton.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Sharpton. Good evening to you. I just want to say something real quick, and it's something I saw, articles that I saw that's kind of important for us. I live in Washington, D.C. One, they do have the National Guard and other agencies out in the street patrolling 30 deep just for tags and tinted windows. That's one thing. So we know that's just a bunch of mess. But my second thing is that I want to talk about that young lady that had. I saw an article about the Smithsonian. This young lady, she has a site that I went to, and she has 5 books that we should look into as our history is being erased, and they're trying to take it out of these public libraries or whatever. And she was a former alt-right, an alt-right person, Christian nationalist. She's not none anymore, so she's got a site too as well. And I just like for them to, look into that, because she made a lot of sense. And it's critical that we get our books and stuff before they decide we can't get books now. So that's one thing we got to keep abreast of. And one thing that he did have, I got for this gentleman, his name is Ron White, and he's in he's a senator, and he has a site on the Instagram that alleged that he has know about $400,000 worth of one line transfer to a bank by Donald Trump and to cover up this Epstein thing. And it says that's draw a red flag. He has access to that, and allegedly it's true. So he has a site, Ron White, and he's a senator, and he has his own site on Instagram somewhere, and he has that information. Okay, and lastly, this is one that really struck me real bad. This is about article I saw says they're not planning on having elections. They're planning on creating circumstances with so much chaos that they will create insurrection, martial law, or anything else it takes to suspend the midterms, that they are not planning on having any elections that would not be lying about the Medicare, which is what they did in the Big Beautiful Bill. And they do these things in order for them to cause chaos and know that if you know that you're going to run for an election, why are you telling us all this stuff that we know you're not going to be elected? So they're saying that he's going to try to pull some shenanigans for the midterm elections so that we will not be able to get our votes in. And I got that off of Just Politics. Just for politics. I got that off there, and I usually go to those sites. So I just want to pass that along to most of your listeners.
I appreciate you doing that, and I thank you for your call. And let me tell you, it is serious out here. The thing that troubled me is that we need to be as serious as they are about fighting back. Let's go to Geralda in Brooklyn, New York. Geralda. Is Geralda there?
Yeah, I'm here now, keeping it real.
Yes, ma'am.
I like the little segments on the history of our Black ancestry. And also, I'm glad you're making references to how Black politicians' careers being assassinated by lies. Like our like the is she a mayor or governor that you just mentioned that
she was a governor
into her finances?
Yeah, she's a governor in the Federal Reserve. Yes.
Right, and also our mayor and also Senator Benjamin that was accused of things that they couldn't produce, and you mentioned Martin Luther King and so on and so forth. But I forgot to mention this. You hung up on me again the last time I called. You didn't let me come back to speak. But anyhow, that's another topic. The thing that I want to make attention to here in New York City in the mayoral candidacy, they have this stupid commercial out on Zoran about him living in a rent-stabilized building, paying $2,700. Who in the world on our regular New York City residents can pay $2,700 in rent? That's supposed to be cheap rent, according to the person that put out the commercial, which I think is ridiculous.
No,
I
saw that commercial. It's ridiculous. You're right. Go ahead.
The average person that paid that sort of money a month is someone that's paying a mortgage payment. I mean, it's so ridiculous. I was shocked. First of all, I know that most rent-stabilized buildings are older buildings, so I'm trying to figure out where he's living, maybe somewhere in the village somewhere, because the last person I heard that was paying at least $2,000 that was in the residential building, she was in the Landmark building, I think it is. It was an older building anyhow, and she was paying $2,000, and it was like a whole block that she had in an apartment. I'm sure Zaron is in a studio apartment for $2,700. You know, these people, these politicians like Donald Trump and all the other cuckoos like him needs to be taken out of office. We need to start a whole new government, because these people that want to make all these claims to this land never belonged here in the first place. and never respected the people that they found here. And they brought some of our relatives from Africa, and they didn't respect them or treated them decent either. So that's all I have to say. Have a good day.
All right, thank you, Geraldo. Let's go to Brother Jacob in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Brother Jacob.
Peace be unto you, Reverend Al, and to your worldwide listening audience. You know,
sorry, sir. We should have took a break.
Man, you've given us so
Brother
much
Jacob,
today, man.
I went over the break time. Hold up, I'll bring you right back after the break.
Okay, yes, sir. I'm a hold.
Keeping it real. Sharpton. Be right back.
Talking to the radio announcers, the church people and the street people, telling them that God has smiled on me. God has smiled on you if you got breath in your body. If He woke you up this morning and started you on your way. But I want to tell you some stories of people that God smiled on. We know the story of Dr. Martin Luther King, how he started way back in Montgomery, Alabama in 1955, trying just to get dignity, trying to get respect. And he went all the way to the mountaintop. But he didn't forget about the brothers in the valley. He didn't forget about those trapped in the alley. And I hear Brother Martin King say, God has smiled on me. He's been good to me. Let me tell you, God has smiled on me. It's been so good to me. Then I see as Dr. King went on, another man stepped into the forefront by the name of John F. Kennedy, who rose up and said, let's not stand back. Let's not wait for a handout. Let's wait for a way out. He said, ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. He said, don't us gravel and don't us moan, because God done smile on us. Let me say it. God has smiled on me. He has set me free. Let me say it. And I saw a man come out. They call him the King of Soul, James Brown. And James Brown said, Reverend, don't you worry. I started out as a shoe shine boy. I started out as a convict. I started out uneducated. But I learned to sing my song. And I sung it all over the world. I told him it was a man's world. I told him about the big payback. I told him Papa got a brand new bag. And all over the world, they can hear my voice. But Reverend, don't you frown. Don't you bow your head. Tell them what she said, son, even though we don't have much, we don't need relief, all we need is belief. And she said, he didn't tell you no lie, because the Lord will take care of you. God sits high, but he looks down low. And every time you get discouraged, every time you're burning down, all you have to do is think of the things that God made a way for you and look toward the heavens. Lift your eyes to the hills and say, God, 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 come smile on me. Now then, the God has smiled on me. He has set me free. God has smiled on me. That has been so good to me. Yes, he has. I said, God smiled on me. He has set me free. And I know all over the country, smile on we need jobs. We need a way to make it. We need help. We need jobs. We need a way to make some money to feed our families and raise our bread. We need a way to survive, so we don't need crime as a survival kit. We just need a little bit. But don't give the hope up. Don't lose the faith, because God will smile on you. God will give you the strength. God will make a way for you. Adam Great Power said, keep the faith. Keep the faith, baby. I hear Robert Kennedy saying that it's not the dreamer, but it's the dream that'll live on forever. Just know that God will smile on you. Dr. King had a dream. Dr. King said, I went to the mountaintop, but I didn't stop there. I looked over and saw the promised land. I hear Brother Malcolm saying, don't sit on the stoop. Stand up and be a man. Respect yourself. Be somebody. Then I hear the brothers in the Hispanic community say, I'm going to stand up and be a man. I'm going to do the best I can. I had a reaper say, I don't care what time you come home, but just give me some respect when you get there. Lord, now God has smiled on me. He has set me free. God smiled on me. You've been so good to me. Sit down. And as we move on in history, let us remember that if we look to God, God has the answer to all of our problems. God is still the same God he was years ago, and we can still make it. We can still hold on like Frederick Douglass did. We can still keep him on like Martin Luther King did. We can still ride on the way everyone that made it did. They didn't have much, but they had a whole lot of faith. They didn't have money, but they had a lot of determination. We know that God will look out for his children, that God will make a way out of no way. If you just keep the faith and refuse to lose, and God will make a way, because God's children don't have color. God's children just have will. And I can still hear somewhere in my mind James Brown say, God has smiled on me. He has set me free. Let me say that. Yeah, Lord. Yeah, Lord. Yeah, Lord.
I want to ask you a question, and that is, what is in your life's blueprint? This is the most important and crucial period of your lives, for what you do now and what you decide now at this age may well determine which way your life shall go. And whenever a building is constructed, you usually have an architect who draws a blueprint. And that blueprint serves as the pattern, as the guide, as the model for those who are to build the building. And a building is not well erected without a good, sound, and solid blueprint. Now, each of you is in the process of building the structure of your lives. And the question is whether you have a proper, a solid, and a sound blueprint. And I want to suggest some
Keeping it real, keeping it real. I'm your host, Reverend Al Sharpton, and we're back. 1-877-532-5797, 1-877-532-5797. Let's go back to Brother Jacob in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, WURD. Go ahead, Brother Jacob.
All right. Again, Reverend Al, I say peace to you and your worldwide audience. You know, if you keep on pushing like you pushing, you're going to be done pulled 1 million people there in New York.
I hope
what
so.
What you say about that?
I hope so.
Well, I'm going to keep it in my prayers, Reverend Al. You know, you told us that great story of the Sharpton family, and you know, you took us there, you know, and you talked about the pebbles that's on your great-granddaddy grave, right?
Yes, sir.
Now, Reverend Al, don't worry about them pebbles, because them pebbles just might turn into his mansion in paradise. You know, the one that we were told that wasn't built by man's hand. Amen?
That's right. Amen.
So, okay, thank you. I'd like to get an amen from the Reverend.
Amen.
But, you know, Rev, excuse me on that, but we ain't feeling no ways tired. Now, we should be concerned about what we see, Reverend Al, but we should have no fear. You already said we are a people that been through the fire like Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego was in the Bible. And we still here. We're still here. We ain't going nowhere. And the bottom line is this here. I heard you just say something about a white community that wanted to be to themselves, and they was well, you know, in the America that I would accept, that wouldn't be no problem with me, and I would respect as a black man, as a African American Muslim man, I respect their right, and I hope they would build the roads, the main road from away from there, so we wouldn't even get caught up in it. But because we got to realize in America, we have the whole of humankind here. And to my religious men and women, I say sometimes we be doing too much because God didn't ask us to cleanse the world of anything. Our orders was, especially the Abrahamic religions, live in peace. Our very greetings is peace. You got the Jewish people, shalom, shalom. The Muslims, assalamu alaikum. And you got the Christians, peace be unto you. And we can't seem to see the thing, well, we're doing too much because God ain't tell us. As an American Muslim, I realize I'm going to have to live in peace with LGBTQIA people, just like I want them to live in peace with me as a devout Muslim, right? We got to learn these things. It don't come easy, but we got to stop the division and understand God. If he didn't want a place where you're free to choose, in America, you can attend the Church of Satan if you want. You ain't breaking no laws. You abiding by the Constitution. Not a problem. So
yeah, well, what I think, I think, Brother Jacob, thank you for your call, and I think that where I have no problem if people want to live separate, as long as they are also not expecting me to live unequal in the same tax area that they live. The problem that we have with segregation is that they wanted to be unequal, their own community, and have all the power. Power over the courts, power over the utilities. They run the lights, the gas, the foods, all of that. If you want to have a community where everybody's equal, that's one thing. That's not what they're talking about. And that's why I'm not going to pay. Let me put it this way. Rosa Parks paid the same car fare the whites on the bus got on. So it wasn't that Rosa Parks wanted to sit with white folks. It's Rosa Parks said, if I pay the same fare, I'm going to sit where I want like y'all sit where you want. I think a lot of us mistaken the desegregation movement for that people wanted to love white folks. No, people were saying that if I got to pay the same tax, I'm going to have the same right. Wasn't nothing about we want to sit in a toilet with white folks. Ain't nothing perfumey about sitting on a toilet. But it was, if we going to build these airports on my tax dollars, I'm going to use a bathroom just like you do. I'm going to walk on the same door like you do. And I think Brother Jacob is right. Other than that, you can have your preferences. Doesn't bother me at all. But you're not going to have me pay equal, and I can't live equal. Let's go to Jerry in Cleveland, Ohio. Jerry, you're keeping it real with Al Sharpton.
Hi, how are you doing?
I'm doing well.
Hey, I wanted to ask a question first, and then I have a few comments I want to make. And my question being is that the Congresswoman, I heard her on TV talking about how she was locked up in an area and wasn't allowed to leave. Am I correct in that?
Well, I don't know which Congresswoman you're talking
about. In Texas.
Oh, you talking about the state representative? Yeah, they had made them. They had said to them that they had to sign slips that they agreed to having some officers, police, monitor and be with them, follow them, to make sure they came back to session. And she said she was not going to sign this. She was not going to agree. So they would not let her leave if she wouldn't sign that statement. So she stayed all night, and they locked her in. She said, I'm not signing it. They said, well, you're not leaving. Then she didn't leave.
Now, tell me if I'm wrong in this, but that's something that they just made up for this situation. So if I'm not mistaken, that's kidnapping.
It would sound like that to me.
Come up with the
you would not get an argument out of me. I don't know. I don't know how anyone could say that is not kidnapping. You're gonna force somebody to do something against their will, and when they won't, you are going to just hold them overnight, lock the doors. I think you're right. That sounds like kidnapping to me. I have a real problem with it,
and I hope she pursues it. Now, my comment is, when it comes to the Democratic Party, I've called them before. And to be honest with you, I look at politics like you vote for the lesser of the two evils. And what I see the Democrats doing right now, I see the guy in New York, and I know I'm mispronouncing his name, Mamdani.
Yeah, Mamdani, yeah.
Mamdani. He's come out with a way to get his message out and talk to people, and people are paying attention.
Yes, they are.
Young people.
Yep.
And the people who I hear criticizing him the most are Democrats.
Yep.
So I look at it this way. How are you criticizing him when you got an evil president who's doing all these things, and you're criticizing this guy? It's about us working together. We might disagree on some minor things, but let's come together and get rid of the evil. And my other problem is the Republicans win because they focus on their base. They work at getting their base out, and their message goes over to the independents. They don't ignore them, but they make sure that they have their base together. Whereas the Democrats, from what I'm seeing, tell me if I'm wrong, they always look and worry about trying to get these Republicans to come over and vote for them. And it's like that carrot that's in front of the horse. Whereas They're chasing it, and they think they're making some advancements, and they don't come over and vote. What the Democrats, to me, in my opinion, need to do is focus on their base. And also, if you get in power, don't all of a sudden forget your base, because their biggest base is what? Black people. If I'm not mistaken, women are the largest voting, black women are the largest voting bloc for the Democrats, and the second is black men. So they need to focus on us and start talking more about voting rights, and instead of complaining, and that's all I hear them do is complaining, start talking about what they're going to do, how they want to get us our voting rights. And I'm sick of hearing people talk about reparations. A lot of these people talking about reparations and then don't go out and vote. If you don't vote, you're not going to get the people in place. You need to get the people in place. You need to build up that Supreme Court, because you've got these guys in the Supreme Court who are just totally corrupt, and they need to get the money out of the politics, because there's too much money in politics, and these rich people are influencing. Because the sooner a lot of these poor people that support Republicans realize that the rich are playing us for fools. Rich people are just taking advantage of us and laughing at us.
And we're allowing it.
We're running around. Yeah, we're. I think it was your show. Somebody called in and said, it might have been C-SPAN or your show. It's like if you had a wealthy person, a worker, and a immigrant. The wealthy person will take 100 cookies, as this lady said, and then tell the worker, there's 100 cookies. The wealthy person will take 99 cookies and then tell the worker, well, the reason you're not getting what you need and want is because of the immigrants.
Yeah.
And that's what the Republican Party has always done. They always give them somebody to blame to make them feel better.
Yeah.
And my last question to you is, I haven't forgotten about those guys. There was a Jason. There was a guy who called himself King David. Another who called himself David. Can they finally call and say, I was wrong?
About Trump?
Do you ever get anybody to call?
No, I have not heard from them.
Have you ever gotten anybody?
No, I have not heard from them. It makes you wonder. But thank you for your call. I got to take my break. Thank you for your call. I got to go to break. We will be right back after this. Keeping it real. Sharpton. Right after this. For 90 days, they're going to do a study of what companies have pulled out of DI and what companies have a small margin of profit. And we in 90 days are going to announce the two companies that we're going after. And we're going to ask everybody in this country, black, white, brown, gay, straight, woman, trans, don't buy where you are not respected. Donald Trump can't make us buy your stuff. The Senate can't make us buy your stuff. In the name of Dr. King, we're going to do what Dr. King did. Trump tweeted the other week, I'm a con man. Don't call me the coin man. I'm going to stop the coins from dropping in the wrong place. Do I seem excited? I am excited because this Saturday The National Action Network Saturday Action Rally starts live on WBLS 107.5 FM in New York. We're going to expand. Every Saturday morning, we're live on WBLS 107.5 from 10 a.m. to 11. You'll hear the message. You'll feel the energy. You'll be involved. You won't be sitting around talking about, oh my God, look at what's happening. You'll be involved in dealing with what's happening. I'm excited, and you should be excited too. Turn on WBLS 10 a.m. every Saturday morning. I have a message for you. And if you want to, you can come to the House of Justice and be there live. 145th Street and Lenox Avenue. We kick off at 9. And we don't stop until we deal with getting our people energized.
Hello, New Orleans. Let me tell you straight. They did not think we could come and be here tonight. They cut budgets and advertising, but one black man, Rich Newton, said, I don't care. My families come together every 4th of July weekend, and Essence will happen, because that's who we are. Give a big hand to Rich Newton for bringing us back. Of who we are is essential to what made this nation. We built this nation. We made this nation. We created the essential dollars that this nation lives off of. We don't care what bill they pass. We will not back up. We will not back down. We will not give in. We will not be chased out. We don't care who's in the White House. We're going to organize our house, house by house. We came over the Middle Passage. We survived slavery. We survived Jim Crow. Don't you give up now. Don't you turn back now. Stand up, black man. Stand up, black woman. Reclaim your dignity. Reclaim your place. So we stand with the Global Black Economic Forum. We stand with Essence Magazine because that's who we are. So don't give in now. Yes, there's some rough days, but we've been through rougher days than this. Yes, Trump is a bad dude, but we beat badder dudes than Trump. So let's party with a purpose, because our rhythm and our music reminds us who we are, because we can smile through our pain and organize for our gain. Let's stand up and let's celebrate who we are. Thank you, God bless you.
A lot of our ministry to entertainment. Or who can hoop the loudest? Who can run around the pulpit more? Or who got the dresses fancy and don't deal with the ministry.
Jesus healed more people than he preached to. Because there is in the healing your message. They followed Jesus because he healed a woman with the issue of blood. They followed Jesus because Jesus saw a blind man named Bartimaeus. A lot of us would have dismissed him because he was a broke, poor, homeless, a blind man. How you know he was broke, Reverend? Because they say he was begging. But he understood what he was doing because he heard that Jesus was passing by. And when Jesus got close enough, he said, Jesus, son of David, come see about me. They kept telling Jesus, let's go, look, we got a schedule, we got people to see. He said it again, Jesus, son of David, come see about me. And when he did it the third time, Jesus stopped and went.
Keeping it real, I'm your host. Keeping it real. Reverend Al Sharpton. Let's go to David in Maryland. David, you're keeping it real with Al Sharpton.
Yes. Mr. Sharpton, thank you, Reverend Sharpton, for everything that you do.
Thank you.
I thank God for you. I'm 77 years old. I have cancer, and I'm a member of man, but I'm going to reach out. I thank God, Reverend, for the anointment on your life. You've been anointed since you were a child. Oh, you know it. I'm sure people have told you that. And I also want to thank God for you because, believe it or not, you are waking up some bones. My wife got out of bed this morning talking about you. So I thank God for you and your witness. I'm on the Eastern Shore. I remember going to cabins on the Eastern Shore. My mother's people were their dirt floors. They worked the fishing industry after slavery. Dirt floors, Reverend Sharpton. No running sewer, going outside, using the bathroom. I also want to say to black people and white people, all people in the DMV area, the Upper Marlboro area, there's a place called Little River Park. This area was full of cotton and slaves working the cotton industry. You need to go to a place called River Park in Upper Marlboro. They still got, they don't advertise it, the slave cabins with dirt floors. All you brothers and sisters who made the grade got these top jobs, executives being in your ancestors are calling on you tonight to wake up and tell the truth because of what they had to go through for us. And God, again, Reverend Sharpton, I thank God for you in Jesus' name.
Well, I thank you for that. I need that boost every now and then. I appreciate that. I really do. Terry in Washington, D.C., you're keeping it real with Al Sharpton.
Good afternoon, Reverend. Good to talk to you again.
Good to hear your voice.
Saw you this morning on Morning Joe, and everyone was kind of seemed to be on board with the disgust with what's going on with the Smithsonian in Trump's comments regarding its wokeism. After that, actually before that, when I first heard the comments that he made yesterday, it was like raised my blood pressure with anger about it. And I said, no. The challenge for him now is, if you think you're taking over all of the museums under the Smithsonian, there are some that are and there are some that aren't that still receive federal funds. And I challenge him to take a stroll, even though he doesn't walk anywhere, across the mall, and perhaps with his National Guards to escort him and protect him from the fears that are going on with the crime rate in the district, and go diagonally across the mall to the Holocaust Memorial. Now, are you going to come out of that and tell those people that everything that happened to them through time didn't happen? They didn't get burned to death as a genocide? Are you going to do that? And then are you going to come out of the Holocaust Museum and walk to the Indian Museum and say that the property was taken for them because it was rightfully taken? I don't think so. So you should practice a balanced approach where you want equality without some discrimination amongst it. The same thing with the African American History Museum. That is a representation of actual history, and if you're going to take that and distort it because it doesn't fit your need, you might as well do the same thing to the other museums. But I doubt if he would do that, especially to the Holocaust Museum, because he seems to have the Jewish population in his back pocket so that he can have friends with Netanyahu. He wouldn't dare do that.
And all you have to do, Terry, you raise an excellent point, and I think we brought up Holocaust Museum this morning, Joe, but not to the degree you said it. All you have to do is just in your own imagination. Imagine if Barack Obama, when he was president, saying we needed to take down the Holocaust Museum. They'd turn this country upside down, and they would have been right. And for us to take this, let me remind you, the listeners, of Museum of African American History and Culture is not funded by where they have the major programs. Cost several $1 million for that auditorium. Was paid for by Robert Smith, a black billionaire who was on my show Sunday night. Oprah Winfrey paid for another room. There are a lot of black investors that the government matched some money. That's not all government money in the African American Museum.
No. What he's actually doing is the same principle that Governor Newsom has said. He's poking in the cage of the bear, and he's poking in every cage he can to rile up distraction. Like they said about the Wizard of Oz. He paid no attention to the man behind the curtain. Well, he's the man behind the curtain that is not Oz, that keeps poking around, and people are going to pull back the curtain to reveal him when they get their hands on those Epstein files. That's what's going to bring him down, I'm hoping. Before I let you go, there's one other thing. I heard the other day somebody was talking about the troops in Washington, and which are now getting more from the red states, that they saw troops in the mall area, which I saw also because I took my cousin back to National Airport. And on my way back, I drove through Georgetown. There were absolutely no troops in Georgetown. It was just like, okay, they weren't going to go there because all the rich folks live there, and a lot of them have all of their private security. They don't want that image in Georgetown, so the troops aren't there. But where they really think they want to control the crime in the black communities south of the river, they won't go because all they're there to do is for show and optics to protect the tourists that come into town and to make it look like they have to build up this wall around the federal enclave, which is basically in Northwest. That's all that is a basic showboating. And I'll let it go at that.
All right. Thank you for your call. And let me get ready to take my break. We will be right back with more of you on the phones, and I'm going to read more of our message. More of our message board. I see Laurie Parks has written in, and the mayor. Let us take care of all this right after the break. Keeping it real. Sharpton, 1-877-532-5797, 1-877-532-5797. We'll be right back after this.
anything past hope. Because, you know, I grew up, like I said, single mama on welfare. And my mother told me there's a part in life that hope's gonna run out. But she told me you got a double barrel in your engine. I said, what is that? She said, you can switch from hope to faith. Faith is a little deeper than hope. Bishop Hilliard is here. Faith is when hope runs out. Faith is the substance of things. Hope for the evidence of things not seen. Faith is when we were emancipated after 246 years of slavery and walked off the plantations with no education, no money, no future. And we built black churches and black colleges and black fraternities. We had faith. Faith made us stand up to the most powerful nation in the world and turn it around. Faith means we went from the back of the bus to the front of the White House. We come this far by faith, leaning on the Lord, trusting in His holy word. He never failed us yet.
Rev, you know, you were right there
from the beginning
with the stuff that was going on in Brooklyn at that time, at Howard Beach. You were right there.
He had in one of the early movies, he had my name. Then he put me in Malcolm, and I wasn't even old enough to know Malcolm. So we've been through it all.
For those who see Malcolm X, it's 3 hours. But fast forward to the scene yourself, Bobby Seale.
Right. Bobby Seale, Denzel, and me.
Yeah.
Denzel was on the set.
Now, let me ask a question. What was your weight on that scene?
I probably about 270. I was bigger then.
Yeah.
Still had the hair, man.
Yeah, you had the hair on.
Yeah, it was
Denzel, yourself, and Bobby Seale.
Yeah, all in one scene.
And also, there was no cut, so we went like this.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Only Spike could have done that.
It's my brother right here.
My baby.
Brooklyn's in the house.
Yes, sir.
Brooklyn's in the house.
BK.
I have a dream today.
Stop going through your life like you are a co-star or a bit player in your own drama. No, you are the main star. You're the central figure in your life. What you decide is what is the major thrust of your life. And others may contribute, impact, affect, but it's your life that you're central in. So stop trying to lay the weight of what you do or don't do on others. That weight is squarely on your shoulders and in your hand. And if you want to defer and give your life choices to others, that's on you. If they have any sense at all, they will be so busy trying to conduct and properly guide their life, they will not have time to try to major in your life. Do I seem excited? I am excited because this Saturday, the National Action Network Saturday Action Rally starts live on WBLS 107.5 FM in New York. We're going to expand. Every Saturday morning, we're live on WBLS 107.5 from 10 a.m. to 11. You'll hear the message. You'll feel the energy. You'll be involved. You won't be sitting around talking about, oh my God, look at what's happening. You'll be involved in dealing with what's happening. I'm excited, and you should be excited to turn on WBLS 10 a.m. every Saturday morning. I have a message for you. And if you want to, you can come to the House of Justice and be there live, 145th Street and Lenox Avenue. We kick off at 9, and we don't stop until we deal with getting our people energized. I would argue that DEI is a result of those that by law and later by enforcement would not deal with diversity, would not deal with including people of color, gender, sexual orientation, as well as disabled. And the conscious effort by government and the private sector to begin to equalize the opportunities of this country was something that makes it more humane and fair for all of us. To DEI, diversify, is not based on the lack of merit. We could not show our merit because we were extremely pompous conservatives that talk about we want a society based on merit. Well then, if it's
Keeping it real. I am your host, Reverend Al Sharpton, and let me again really tell you the importance
of us standing up at this time. Just think about it for a minute. They have come out publicly now and said that they are going to change the Smithsonian because slavery wasn't that bad. They got whites building all white towns in Arkansas. They have the black female governor at the Federal Reserve. They don't set up on a case like they're trying to set up Tish James in New York. They've done all of this. And there has to be, I want y'all to hear me good now, has to be somebody in the White House saying, let's see how they react. They have put National Guard and taken National Guard from other states and put them in Washington, D.C., and taken any semblance of power from the mayor, Mayor Bowser. They don't have federal authority, but they've taken away municipal. Let's see what they're going to do. That is why this March on Wall Street is important. If I don't care who you are, where you are, buses are leaving from everywhere. It is important at this time we stand up and show our resistance. Everybody's been marching but us. And marching doesn't solve a problem. Marching says, I'm not going to tolerate this. And they're going to keep piling on because they have no reason not to. Let me tell you something. Remember Trump and that. Let me tell you something. Don't tell me what Trump ain't going to do. Trump was president when George Floyd was killed. And we sent them 3 policemen to jail. They're in jail this morning. He was president then. But we stood up, marched all over the world, fought back. So don't tell me what you can't do. If you're scared, say you're scared. But he can be dealt with because we've done it. So everybody, next Thursday, week from tomorrow, is the March on Wall Street. Go to www.nationalactionnetwork.net, or you can call the toll-free number 1-877-626-4651 and find out a bus near you, or have your own way of getting there, but be there 10 o'clock next Thursday morning, August 28th. Join Martin Luther King III and many of our civil rights groups, Urban League and 12 unions. Ben Crump told me this morning he'll be there. We're going to stand up to the money guys on next Thursday. You need to be there. Let me also say to you that in Washington, I'll be preaching on this Sunday at Rankin Chapel at Howard University. You don't have to be a student to come. I'll be preaching, and I'm certainly going to deal with what's going on in Washington. One of the reasons, I heard one of the callers talk about I was anointed since a little boy. One of the things that my faith kicks in is when things happen that just happen that wasn't planned. We didn't plan to have a march on Washington this year. This 5th year. Every 5 years we commemorate. We usually do it in D.C. We just said, let's do it on Wall Street, and I'm glad we did because people would be afraid to come in Washington with them National Guard. It just happened. I had nowhere knowing that the president was going to do this to Mayor Bowser in Washington. I was scheduled to be preaching at Howard University. They booked it 8 months ago. It just happened. So when something just happens, you're supposed to rise to that occasion. So 11 o'clock Sunday morning, I'll be preaching at Howard University, Rankin Chapel. You're in the D.C., Virginia, Maryland area. Come on and have worship with me and the students at Howard University this Sunday. Let me also remind you, watch Politics Nation with Al Sharpton every Saturday and Sunday, 5 p.m. Eastern Time, MSNBC. And I'm going to have a lot of people on these issues this weekend. I'm doing the show from New York on Saturday and then from Washington on Sunday. Watch both nights. And, of course, I will be at the Saturday Action Rally before going to Washington Saturday morning, 9 a.m. to 11. 9 a.m. to 11, House of Justice in Harlem, 145th Street and Lenox Avenue. And, of course, you that are not in New York, you can watch it live on Impact Television, or you can go to www.nationalactionnetwork.net and watch it on our live stream. Tanya Stovall on our message page says, you cannot believe anything about the Epstein files at this time. Everything will be redacted and altered and not have anything in it about Trump. Certainly looks like that's what they're trying to do. Let's go to Will in Cleveland, Ohio. Will, you're keeping it real with Al Sharpton.
Hey, how you doing? The thing, I had a couple points I want to hit. It came across my mind. I don't know if Democrats have anything like to educate young Democrats. I listen to Charlie Kirk sometime and this PragerU, where they're going across the country getting young Republicans, educating them on politics, or building new races or whatever they're doing. But they grab them young so they'll understand how it works. We get a lot of people call in the show and say, we need to do this. Like yesterday, you was trying to explain to them, if you don't have any power, you can't do anything.
Right.
You know what I mean? Well, the 6 is 9 justices, and we only got 3. You can't win those battles like that. So they need to understand how this works and what's going on. You know what I mean? You got to vote to put people in power. Then you can make a move. You can't do anything if your hands are tied. So, I think that by them having these groups, young Republicans, and like I say, sometimes they discuss this stuff. So you're just building young people to put them in place to understand what they need to do to hold other people back. So I think Democrats need to work on something like that.
I think you're right.
The other point I heard is, like, remember when Biden, they keep letting the Republicans set up the narrative. When they had Biden was saying, they're going to put y'all back in chains, they built that up so bad, man. Everybody was saying, even Democrats and Republicans was crying about Biden. How did he say that? How did he say something like that? It looked like he had a premonition. Just look at the picture now. He's stripping all the history. They got in Washington, they're trying to lock people up. And it's about locking up black people.
Oh, yeah.
So that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to put you back in chains, in a sense, and with Latinos and blacks, anybody but white. So, you can let them keep telling you how to think. That's the thing that gets me, We jumped on that, you jump on, well, the Democrats are doing so bad now. I hear that all the time. How bad are they really doing? They're discombobulated and all this stuff, so quit letting them tell you what's going on. We need some Democratic people to speak up and tell you what's really going on.
I think you're right, and I really thank you for your call. I think you're right, especially, Will, when you say we can't do nothing without power. And the real troubling thing about that is we have the numbers to get the power. We talk ourselves out of power. Kamala Harris only lost the election by 1.5%. People act like that this was some landslide. 1.5%. If the people that have been registered to vote had just come out in Philadelphia and Pittsburgh and flipped Pennsylvania, she'd have been president. That's how close it was. We talk ourselves out of our own victories. And we demand perfection rather than demand power. And when they ain't looking for nobody perfect. They got a man sitting up in the White House with 34 convicted felonies and a sexual assault case. He done caught 35 cases.
but they understand power. We have never been used to power, only got it for a minute. So they could trick us off in stupidity. And I think that we've got to do that and got to do it right. And I believe that we must wake up and can wake up if we stay on it. Let's take a break and come back to you on the phones. Keeping it real. Sharpton, be right back. I would argue that DEI is a result of those that by law and later by enforcement would not deal with diversity, would not deal with including people of color, gender, sexual orientation, as well as disabled. And the conscious effort by government and the private sector to begin to equalize the opportunities of this country was something that makes it more humane and fair for all of us. To DEI, diversify, is not based on the lack of merit. We could not show our merit because we were extremely pompous conservatives that talk about we want a society based on merit. Well then, if it's based on merit, then why did you discriminate based on race and gender? Until they cut off much of the population and then had merit between white males. That was what they meant, not merit. Let's have real merit, but let's also make up the ground that those of us with merit was not able to compete. Let me say this on our weekend assignment about really confronting and stopping your laziness and mind. You have to stop being around lazy friends, lazy people, because lazy people normalizes your laziness. They make you settle for less than what you can do and be. They say, well, you don't need to do that. You all right, you good. Because they don't want to press their way. They encourage you not to press your way. And then some are just snakes, want to hold you back, envious, jealous. They're mediocre, so they want you to stay that way. Let me tell you how you handle snakes, though. Don't fight them. You don't kill snakes with kindness. You kill them with distance. Let them starve to death. Just get away from them. Snakes need you close in order to bite. Just get your distance from snakes. And realize that God doesn't require that you know it all. He only requires you have the faith to take the next step knowing he knows it all. So get past being lazy and say, I'm going to make this effort. I'm going to make this move. I'm going to make this attempt. I'm going to take this step. And God will do the rest. That's what faith is. I was reading this passage this morning that says, your friends think you're lucky. Your family thinks you're crazy. Your competition thinks you're a threat. And you know you're just someone who refuses to be small. You refuse to be mediocre. All of what everybody thinks of you, you know that you refuse to be less than what you can be. Others look at you as complicated. Don't let people complicate what you know is simple. You just refuse to be reduced to someone else's measure of you. That's why you gotta get your lazy self up and be what you know you could be. You're not getting too old. You're not polished enough. You're not educated enough. You're not one that doesn't have enough connections or contacts. You're just lazy. All that stuff you don't have, you can get. It's within your reach. Now put it within your grasp. Oh, do I seem excited? I am excited because this Saturday, the National Action Network Saturday Action Rally starts live on WBLS 107.5 FM in New York. We're going to expand. Every Saturday morning, we're live on WBLS 107.5 from 10 a.m. to 11. You'll hear the message. You'll feel the energy. You'll be involved. You won't be sitting around talking about, oh my God, look at what's happening. You'll be involved in dealing with what's happening. I'm excited, and you should be excited to turn on WBLS 10 a.m. every Saturday morning. I have a message for you, and if you want to, you can come to the House of Justice and be there live, 145th Street and Lenox Avenue. We kick off at 9, and we don't stop until we deal with getting our people energized. One year ago and change, 67 weeks ago, we started marching every Thursday, am I right, on the offices of Bill Ackman. Bill Ackman was the architect of ending DEI, which is diversity, equity, and inclusion. He started it. I want to give a little history because a lot of people get Negro-itis and get confusion. I don't even mind your ego. Everybody need one, but you don't have to become contrary and duplicitous. We got to have integrity even among those with ego. So we started when they first came out against DEI. Now Ackman and them started it going to Harvard University, forcing out the first black woman and first black president of Harvard. We went to his office and been going 67 weeks. I went first 10, 12 weeks. And this brother, stand up, Reverend Ron McHenry, coordinator House of Justice. This brother has been there every week. Many of you here in the audience have marched every week. So we didn't just get in this. We were in it the day they came at Claudine Guy. Last year's convention, we dealt with DEI. This year we said that we're going at these corporations that had come out against DEI. Many of you, most of y'all I'm looking at was at the convention. And we hit Pepsi. Pepsi called and said, all right, we 8-9 days in, we agree to meet. And we went, purchased New York, chairman of our board, Reverend Dr. W. Franklin Richardson, and Carol Wallace, who's a special advisor to us on finance, and laid out to them that one, we don't care what you call it, DEI, IED. Y'all are gonna keep your commitments in terms of the black community. And that means we don't want special privilege, but we do not want to be specially excluded. This is not about we don't want merit. We feel if our people are at the table, we can beat anybody on merit in many cases. So we want from employment to your board, to how you deal with marketing, to who does your financial investment. We want to go across the board with that. Otherwise, if you don't want to deal with the question of diversity in how you do your business, then don't deal with diversity in your consumer base, because you don't believe in diversity. So we just will try to remove all the dollars we can from buying your stuff. In fact, I told the chairman, remember the chairman of the board, remember the CEO, I said,
Keeping It Real. I'm your host, Reverend Al Sharpton, and we're back. 1-877-532-5797. Let's go to West Palm Beach, and I'm definitely trying to get to West Palm Beach. I tried to schedule before the march, get down there, Brother Carl, but it looks like we have to do it in September, unless we can.
Well, we hope you come.
I'm coming, Forrest, I promise. But go ahead.
Okay. All right. Usually I try to talk real fast because I know I'm on the time limit, but if you can just hear me out for a minute, I want to put this out there as a plan.
Okay.
Then I got a question at the end of the plan.
Okay.
Now, when I was young growing up, I can remember out to Sunland Park in Fort Lauderdale, my aunt used to take us to a place, to the park, and they called it Play Day. What it was, Play Day was I didn't know, and I didn't realize, and still was learning. It was talking about what was going on in Black history and in the life about voting and everything. Jane Brown was there, Prince was there, a lot of amateur singers was there, was trying to get their stuff known, and there was a lot of games and food and stuff there. Now, the Democrats, if they can do something like that, but it takes someone with the power to put it together. If they can take some of these parks, like the biggest park in New York, even if they go to Republican places where most of the Republicans where Republicans at, to get them to turn them. If they can have something out to the park to get for the young voters to get to them, they can have food trucks out there. They can have the artists like Usher, JC, and they can have Black leader talking in areas, and they can have gospel music somewhere, gospel churches all around, and they can have Taylor Swift even could be there, and they can also have the colleges out there and games out there. If they can do that, and new artists, if they go on YouTube and find somebody who's trying to be something or somebody and bring them out there, that would bring the people there. And with the Black leaders there doing their talk and getting inside of their head, that would help to get them out to vote. Because you hear a lot of times some of the young generation say, well, if whatever Trump doing, if it don't bother me, I ain't worried about it because I'm making $1,000 a week or something like that. But they love to go to concerts, they love to go with food at, they love to go with games at, they love to do all those things. And that's what Democrats can do, and that's what somebody with power, if they can put that together, then that would be good. Because back in the day, I never knew who Muhammad Ali was. I didn't know, and then I found out he owned a chain of restaurant, and the name of that restaurant was Champ Burger.
That's
I don't
right.
know if you remember that.
I remember that. I do remember that.
And that's where I learned that from. I was probably, I don't know, about 10, 11. I don't remember how old I was. I know I was young, and that's how I got to learn about what was going on. Martin Luther King, who he was, and these singers, before they started singing, they would tell us stuff, about the marches going on, and we have to stand up for our rights, and we have to do this there. It was all over the park. People was doing something and saying something. We can't always show that we're so angry and so serious about being angry when you can put some kind of happiness in somebody's heart. And not only that, we can be pulling people together, even if it's a Republican and a Democrat getting together or the non-voters getting together. If they can get there, if we can get somebody with some power to put that together, then that would be great. And my last thing down to the bottom is if Trump stops the mailed-in voting, it's going to hurt not only a lot of people, which will be the disabled, the ones that's laying up inside the hospital bed and on their last breath, they probably want to vote. It's not right. That's why I say if we can put this together about these play days and stuff, somebody need to stop this man and need to stop him sooner than soon. Not at the end of the vote. There's something got to be wrong somewhere. He's doing something wrong and it's illegal that should be stopped right here and now. That's my story.
All right.
And I'm sticking to it.
I like you sticking to it, and you're right. Everything you say, we need to get these young people. We have a youth department in several of our chapters called Huddle, And I don't even go to the one in Harlem because they know how to communicate with each other. But we need to blow that up even more. And the Democratic Party needs to do that. We do it in terms of civil rights. But the Democratic Party needs to do that as far as you're right. And again, I promise I am coming to West Palm. When you talk to Carl, tell him I am coming. We just, so much been happening. We moved the August date. I'm not gonna commit the date until I know I'm there, but it'll be probably after the March before we get into October. Let's get in, let's go to Brother Greg in South Carolina. Brother Greg. Is Brother Greg there?
Good afternoon, Reverend Al.
Good afternoon.
Yes, I'm a former Army officer and a veteran, and also a native of South Carolina. And first and foremost, Reverend Al, I just want to thank you for that history lesson at the top of the show.
Oh,
I think we as a nation, yes, sir, we as a nation, especially African Americans from New York to California, we needed to hear that today, especially after what was said by President Trump, reference our ancestors and slavery. And number one, though, is that story of your great-grandfather and your great-grandmother at cabin in Edgefield, South Carolina. And I think all of us, African Americans, especially myself being from South Carolina, if we trace it back, Reverend Al, I'm sure we could all trace it back to one of those cabins, just like your great-grandfather.
Yeah.
And one of the main reasons I called, though, Reverend Al, is one thing that I think or know that your great-grandfather handed down to you is a gift of discernment. And the reason I say that is because in your talk early in the show, you mentioned an all-white community being built in Arkansas.
Right.
And a second later, you mentioned the National Guard in D.C., the District of Columbia.
Right.
And I wanted to call in to provide a connection. And to the people, I use Google as a research tool to get to the point. And the connection that you made, Reverend Al, refers to this Google. The Google is Trump Freedom Cities. That's Trump Freedom Cities. And this is a lesser known part of Project 2025, where Trump and Republicans have made a goal to create 10 what they call freedom cities, where they intend to take federal land and basically either convert a city like D.C. into a freedom city or take some other federal land and, just as you mentioned, like in Arkansas, to build a city from the ground up, a brand new city. Now, the second Google goes to the problem with what they're doing. The second Google is Trump parallel economy. That's Trump parallel economy. And when you put those two together, Reverend Al, the lesser known part of Project 2025 is a great plan by Trump and the Republicans to build at least 10 freedom cities, but also build a national parallel economy. Now, the freedom cities is basically another term for the reintroduction of housing segregation.
Right.
And the Trump parallel economy is basically economic segregation. It's going to be very exclusive for the rich and powerful, and probably mostly for white Americans. And the last Google kind of brings it all together. And the people, if they do this Google, they'll find several articles about the big picture of what you're talking about and Project 2025. And this is the Google. Trump and the resegregation of America. Trump and the resegregation of America. And I would urge everyone, please research those three Googles. And I wanted to ask you one question.
All right, hold it 1 minute. Let me take my break. I'll hold you over the break. Keeping it real. Sharpton. Be right back.
we've reduced a lot of our ministry to entertainment. Or who can hoop the loudest, who can run around the pulpit more, or who got the dresses fancy, and don't deal with the ministry. Jesus healed more people than he preached to. Because there is in the healing your message. They followed Jesus because he healed a woman with the issue of blood. They followed Jesus because Jesus saw a blind man named Bartimaeus. A lot of us would have dismissed him because he was a broke, poor, homeless, a blind man. How you know he was broke, Reverend? Because they say he was begging. But he understood what he was doing because he heard that Jesus was passing by. And when Jesus got close enough, he said, Jesus, son of David, come see about me. They kept telling Jesus, let's go, we got a schedule, we got people to see. He said it again, Jesus, son of David, come see about me. And when he did it the third time, Jesus stopped and went and healed the blind man. Now, what I get out of that scripture, Bishop Daughtry, is that the blind man told Jesus, if you are who you say you are, you're going to stop and see me. And if you stop and see me, you will confirm who you are. But when we are pastoring and leading in communities with bad health, we cannot be the followers and representatives of Jesus and walk by people that are sick and we not be part of making them well.
1 year ago and change, 67 weeks ago, we started marching every Thursday, am I right, on the offices of Bill Ackman. Bill Ackman was the architect of ending DEI, which is diversity, equity, and inclusion. He started it. I want to give a little history because a lot of people get Negroitis and get confusion. I don't even mind your ego. Everybody need one, but you don't have to become contrary and duplicitous. We got to have integrity even among those with ego. So we started when they first came out against DEI. Now Ackman and them started it going at Harvard University, forcing out the first black woman and first black president of Harvard. We went to his office and been going 67 weeks. I went first 10 to 12 weeks. And this brother, stand up, Reverend Ron McHenry, coordinator House of Justice. This brother has been there every week. Many of you here in the audience have marched every week. So we didn't just get in this. We were in it the day they came at Claudine Guy. Last year's convention, we dealt with DEI. This year we said that we're going at these corporations that had come out against DEI. Many of you, most of y'all I'm looking at was at the convention. And we hit Pepsi. Pepsi called and said, all right, we 8-9 days in, we agree to meet. And we went, purchased New York, chairman of our board, Reverend Dr. W. Franklin Richardson, and Carol Wallace, who's a special advisor to us on finance, and laid out to them that one, we don't care what you call it, DEI, IED. Y'all are gonna keep your commitments in terms of the black community. And that means we don't want special privilege, but we do not want to be specially excluded. This is not about we don't want merit. We feel if our people are at the table, we can beat anybody on merit in many cases. So we want from employment to your board, to how you deal with marketing, to who does your financial investment. We want to go across the board with that. Otherwise, if you don't want to deal with the question of diversity in how you do your business, then don't deal with diversity in your consumer base, because you don't believe in diversity. So we just will try to remove all the dollars we can from buying your stuff. In fact, I told the chairman, remember the chairman of the board, remember the CEO, I said, in fact, I learned that not from growing up civil rights, I learned that from Donald Trump. So what do you mean? I said, Donald Trump said he's gonna redo tariffs, that if he doesn't get what he wants for the country, they were gonna raise the tariff. I'm doing the black tariff reverse. If we don't get what we want,
I mean, y'all can't be for Trump and tariff and not be for us in the African American community with a tariff.
I want to ask you a question, and that is, what is in your life's blueprint? This is the most important and crucial period of your lives, for what you do now and what you decide now at this age may well determine which way your life shall go. And whenever a building is constructed, you usually have an architect who draws a blueprint. And that blueprint serves as the pattern, as the guide, as the model for those who are to build the building. And a building is not well erected without a good, sound, and solid blueprint. Now each of you is in the
Keeping it real. I am your host, Reverend Al Sharpton, and let me say I'm looking at our sign-up pages, and people are signing up. We've seen a lot of people in the last several days signing up, and during the whole broadcast today to be at the Wall Street March. It is imperative we show our strength and put the spotlight on these financiers. These are the people that are reaping the dividends of these cuts. And the reason Trump will be so arrogant is there has been no pushback at all from us. We're going to change that a week from tomorrow. So make sure you go to www.nationalactionnetwork.net and be part of that. Or call the toll-free number 1-877-626-4651. And buses are leaving from all over the country. Many of our chapters have buses. Others have buses. NAN is taking care of them. Somebody said, why ain't y'all helping people get there? If you have made a reservation on a NAN bus, we are taking care of the bus. Don't let people agitate you. That's the MAGA maniacs. We're not asking you to pay for the bus. We're asking you to get on the bus. Let's go back to Brother Greg in South Carolina. Brother Greg.
Yes, thank you, Reverend Al. Thank you for holding me over. Yes, when I was listening to you tell the story of your great-grandfather, it reminded me of a Google that I'd given previously on your show, and I'd like to give it again to the people right now.
Okay.
And the Google is, the United States Supreme Court has never reversed the Dred Scott decision. That's the United States Supreme Court has never reversed the Dred Scott decision. And I had a thought as you were talking, and this is the thought. In 1865, during the time of your great-grandfather, the Dred Scott decision was an active Supreme Court precedent. In 2025, during your time right now, Reverend Al, during my time right now, during the time of millions of African Americans across the country, and during the time of our children and our grandchildren right now, the Dred Scott decision is still an active Supreme Court precedent. And my question, Reverend Al, is it any way possible, since you're the top civil rights leader, if you could maybe call a conference or talk to like an attorney like Attorney Crump or some of the other civil rights attorneys or other civil rights leaders and look at this issue? Why in 2025 is the Dred Scott decision still an active Supreme Court precedent applying to our people?
I think it's a very good question. I certainly will bring it up to Attorney Crump and other the civil rights leaders, all of them being here next week for the march. That ought to be something we deal with. I think, and I do remember you brought it up before, it's still on the books. Now, there's going to be some legal experts say, well, there's been laws since then, but that has never been overtly overturned as far as I know. So I definitely will bring that up. Thank you for raising it, Brother Greg. Let me go to the
Thank you, Reverend Al.
Let me go to the sage of the South, to Atlanta, Georgia, the Brother Jihad. Brother Jihad.
How you doing, Reverend Al?
I'm doing well. How you doing?
Pretty good. You know, brother from Carolina is correct that the everything they're doing is written in that either the 2025 project or the Heritage Foundation, the different Heritage Foundation, I forgot the name of the other group they had where they wanted to keep the South alive. They've written everything down that they're now implementing because they have the power base to implement it. You know, America has lived a lie for a long time, Reverend Al.
Mm-hmm.
And our history being told exposes the lie. And the truth of the matter is, many of us don't know our history. Sad to say.
That's right.
You know what I mean? Many of us don't know the history. But what has happened, because time is progress and technology and information and the internet, many people are more exposed to our history now, including young white people and older white people that never knew the extreme of slavery.
Right.
They never saw it. You know what I mean? So what happened is they're being exposed to it now. So what they want to do is shut that part down. That's why DeSantis said, if you remember, DeSantis said, well, a young girl read the story and she felt bad, and that's her mother, why did y'all treat those people like that?
Right. He did say
that. She felt a sense of guilt. She felt a sense of guilt. And what they don't want is that guilt to spread because they don't want us to really understand the lie they've been perpetrating on the world for over 200-300 years. I'll end with this, Reverend Al. Keep in mind, slavery, 240-something years straight.
Right.
Rape, robbery, work. Reverend Al, if one of your workers looked at their paycheck and didn't get their full 40 hours, they'd be there at your office raising hell every day, wouldn't they? They wouldn't even let you. They wouldn't even let you leave the office.
That's right.
Now imagine a whole race of people working for 240 years without pay, and on top of that being sexually abused and abused throughout that 240 years at will. I mean, I really don't think we understand and visualize what our ancestors went through. You know what I mean? Because, and I agree with you 100%, once we do, we will say there's nothing these people can do to overpower us.
That's right.
Once we decide to do what we're supposed to do. Nothing. If we survive that, once put in proper picture and properly understood, with chains around our necks and feces around our necks and women not being allowed to properly handle themselves during the menstrual cycles, and then being violated during the 240 years, Reverend Al.
Right.
And then the modern descendants of those same slaves going to say, we had nothing to do with that. Well, here's what you do. You didn't have anything to do with it, but you're going to be mad at us for surviving it.
Right.
And only asking you to live up to your creed and be honest and fair. You're going to be angry with us, create all kind of laws and put all kind of traps. And then even to the extent in 2025 want to kill us for surviving slavery? No, Reverend Al. We have to take this opportunity, and Trump has given us a grand opportunity to expose this history more than we ever did before. We need to show it. We need to tell it. We need everybody to hear it. We especially need our young people to know it. And we need white America to know how unjust and how hypocritical this particular country was in their treatment of the Africans from Africa. And I think what brother said earlier about brothers. No, you said something about James Brown being up the street from where your ancestors was.
Right.
Why you think we call brothers, Reverend Al?
That's right.
We don't know. They did. Reverend, mother has son and everything. So we basically hated, and we talk about the cultural connection. But I can't say no more.
Our blood out here. You deep down that, Brother Jihad. Thank you for that.
Thank you very much, man.
All right, Brother Raj from Cleveland. Let me get him in, Brother Raj.
I'm at the phone. Try to put you later.
Hello. Hello. I
don't think they're paying attention.
Was Brother Raj paying attention? It sounded like he was talking to somebody else. Hello. Yeah, he's not.
Sorry, I'm in a kind of a bad spot. I'm gonna have to try to catch you next time.
All right, thank you. I want y'all not to take lightly what Brother Jihad said, because the intermingling and the rape and the forced situations that they put us through made us all family and having to deal with the seed of slave masters, which is why we have different complexions. And I think maybe some of us don't want to face the vicious cycle and season in history that our forefathers went through. The reason I bring it up is not for you to hate somebody. I bring it up so you understand that any people that can endure all of that, that's in your blood. You can fight through this nonsense we got now. I mean, can you imagine that you brought across the Atlantic Ocean, chained each other, halfway through the person on your right dies, person on your left goes, and you have to ride the rest of the way with dead weight, yet you made it. Then when you got here, you stripped of your name and your family, and you made it. That's your great-grandfather. That's your great-grandmother. That's how strong they were. We're the strongest Africans in the world in our bloodline. And we let some McDonald's Big Mac eating guy come and scare us because we don't know who we are. Let me get ready to go. Let me thank all of you that called in. I had no guests today. You were my guest. Let me thank you that called in, listened, and you that called in and couldn't get through, but hung in there anyhow. Remember, whatever you do, wherever you go, however you feel, tell somebody, tell anybody, tell everybody. Reverend Al told you personally, keep it real. Keep it real. Keep it real. I'll talk to you tomorrow.